While everybody forgot about alligator Alcatraz, we here at the Daily Rumble did not. And even though most people think that alligator Alcatraz is no more, you'd be wrong, because it actually is still open. It's been open the entire time. Now, it is true that we did have a federal judge order the closure of alligator Alcatraz a few months ago, but that order was quickly overruled by the 3rd District Court of Appeals, and they have been allowed to continue operations. And because the media attention has no longer been on Alcatraz, things have only gotten worse. First, we had the story from the Miami Herald stating that over 1,200 people were missing from this facility with no record. Their families, their attorneys, no one can find these people. And there has never been a single congressional investigation in this. There's been no federal government oversight, and even if there was federal government oversight, it wouldn't matter because the same federal government that helped get this institution set up in Florida is the same one that would be doing the oversight of it. And so we obviously couldn't trust anything that the Trump administration would say in an investigation anyways. But now we have Amnesty International did a surprise check on the facility. I don't even know how they were able to get in there because they've rejected everybody else that's been trying to get in there, including congressmen. But somehow they were able to get in and do an investigation, and what they found was beyond disturbing. So if you don't have the stomach for it, you might want to turn this video off. The first thing that Amnesty International was able to find in their investigation of this facility is that there are still 1,200 people missing that are unknown. And you had the crazy lunatic Laura Loomer go out on X after this facility was put up, saying that the alligators were going to get 64 million meals if we could start sooner. Well, it looks like they may have gotten 1,200 meals because we still don't know where these 1,200 people are. And more people have been filed into this facility and then lost because it's not a federal facility, it's a state facility that is contracting out to the feds. Now, the feds are pumping these people in, but then they're hands off. And once they pump them in, who knows what's happened to them after that because they're not keeping any records. And so all types of abuses could and probably are happening, including deaths. We know of 12 verified deaths that have happened at this facility since its opening. That's a horrendous ratio. 12 people should not be dying simply due to lack of medical infrastructure or care. One of the most disturbing things of this report, however, is the fact that detainees described what they call the torture box. So if you're a detainee in this facility and a guard doesn't like the way that you're behaving, they put you in a 2x2 box where you basically have no room to move. Your hands are shackled behind your back, your legs are shackled, and you're stuck in there outside with the mosquitoes, the heat, the bugs for hours on end, with no reprieve and very little water to keep you alive. Detainees have described this as something out of medieval Europe. It is absolutely horrendous. Now, Amnesty International was not able to verify this report, but it did come from several detainees that were interviewed separately. One thing that they were able to verify for sure, though, is the housing conditions. The housing conditions are horrendous. There are literally people sleeping next to feces because the toilets and sanitation are backed up and are not maintained, so they're overflowing into the sleeping quarters of the detainees, who are now having to sleep with this muck on the ground. And let's not even get started on privacy between men, women, and children, because there is none at all. They're all mixed in together. They're forced into this situation where women are using the bathroom with a camera that the security guards are watching, including the showers as well. And now let's talk about the showers. So according to these reports, the detainees are only getting a shower, if they're lucky, once a week. This violates all of the standing case law in the United States about criminal detainees and even prisoners. We're talking like the worst prisoners in the world are guaranteed to get a shower at least every 72 hours in the United States, according to the United States Supreme Court. And yet you have detainees on immigration visas and in immigration holds who are being treated worse than that. We're not talking about Jeffrey Dahmer here. We're talking about some lady who crossed the border to get a job to make her life better for her and her family back in Mexico. Same thing with the men and these children. Let's not even get started on what's happening with kids, because they're going through all of this at the same time. Dozens and dozens of reports also are that they're leaving detainees shackled for over 24 hours for no other reason than to just get their jollies off at torturing these detainees and making their life a living hell. The medical neglect in this facility is third world. It is absolutely crazy. In the United States of America, there should be a doctor and a nurse, a couple of nurses, dental, whatever, in any detainee facility, whether it's a criminal, whether it's immigration, etc. The courts have ruled on this, and there is just so much case law that have fought for prisoners' rights, especially pre-trial. And that's what would be classified with this immigration hold. You are pre-trial. You've not been found guilty of any crime and sentenced to a prison. And therefore, in pre-trial situation, you are supposed to be held to a higher standard than what we would even hold somebody who is convicted of the most heinous crimes in the United States. But that's not what's happening. It's the exact opposite. And while mainstream media has completely forgotten about this entire story and is no longer even covering it, most people in America think that alligator Alcatraz is actually closed and it's not even happening. But it's open, guys, and the media has completely forgotten about it because that's the way corporate media works. They only want to cover what's going to make them money in the short term. And covering stories like this, where there's clear human rights abuses with detainees at Alligator Alcatraz, just doesn't make the cut. But here at Daily Rumble, we will never forget about those who are suffering these injustices. We'll continue to fight for you. Even though we may not agree on all of the political stances of every single left wing, right wing, center, etc., we'll always do our best to make sure that these types of stories are covered. But we can't do it alone, guys. We're literally being attacked left, right, and center every single day. We've had accounts taken down and banned for telling you guys the truth. So what we need you to do is a desperate call to action. Go to the link in the description. That's to our Substack. Subscribe over there, and if you can afford it, it's only $8 a month. But if you can't, it's absolutely free. We'll continue to go into deep dives. We'll continue to go deep dive into these types of stories and more to keep you informed on stories that matter. Thank you, and have a good night.